Okay. Thank you. So there is no need to be shy. So just indicate. We are just trying to look at some statistics to buttress some of the things we'll be saying next. Okay, thank you. One person there. Two persons. Any other person? Okay, so at least we have two people raising their hands. So you can put down your hands. Thank you very much. So we have two people raising their hands now to let us know that there are people who didn't even know there was anything coming. So what is this tax rule, new tax regime that we are talking about? It's all over the news, of course. Now, imagine that you woke up one morning, let's say from 2026, and you just find out that you have 10 bank accounts that you operate. You know, for some of us who are into businesses, I know people who have, you know, several bank accounts, and all of these bank accounts are not just empty or dormant or redundant. They are loaded with some, you know, some good amount of money. So imagine that you woke up one morning, one beautiful morning, and all of a sudden you find out that you can't transact, you can't access your bank accounts. You know, you can imagine what's going to happen. You can imagine what kind of stress you are going to need to go through. And I remember what happened during the early days of BVN, when people had to, you know, people like me, I don't like going to banks. I don't. And I have my reasons, apart from the stress, you know, the time that it takes and everything. But when the BVN issue came up, you find out that, you know, people were forced to go to the bank, right? People had to do what they had to do because many people could not access their money because of the BVN issue. So something similar, if you experience what I'm just talking about now, you understand what I'm trying to describe. So something similar is going to happen in January. And I have heard a lot of people say, oh, forget it, not in Nigeria, it cannot happen. Are we not in Nigeria? You know, now, the first thing I want you to know is that it is better to be prepared than to be caught unawares. Especially if you are here, you run one kind of business. I believe the government is serious. Of course, probably we all know the antecedent of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the first thing he announced when he was sworn in as the president was that he was going to remove the fuel subsidy. Abi? And of course, this is a decision that many of his predecessors have been unable to take because it was a tough one, but he did it. And there are many other things he said he was going to do after that he has done. So if this government is saying, okay, come, this tax issue, we want to start taking it seriously, then I think any wise person should just get prepared. So that's what this webinar is all about. So the tax law that we are talking about is not a new thing. It's been in existence. So it is just, what we are witnessing now is just some kind of a bit of adjustment, repackaging of the old tax law, and then the implementation and the let me call it the enforcement is now going to be very, very tight in such a way that in the days ahead, of course, from 2026, it will be difficult for anyone that is earning income in Nigeria to evade tax. So if you've been paying tax before now, congratulations, you really don't have anything to worry about, especially if you've been paying tax correctly. So there are different angles that this issue of tax, you know, faces many people with. The first one are people who don't even know that there is anything called tax. They don't believe in all this tax issue. There are people who pay, maybe you are into business, you pay, but, you know, I know some people who have some kind of association, and then they have an agreement with the tax authorities that, okay, come, all this tax calculation and everything, we don't have time for this. So just come. We have a lot of people in our association. We are going to be making sure that every of our member give you so amount every month or every year, irrespective of whatever they make as revenue. So you find out that there are so many things that have been going on as far as the tax issue is concerned. But all of that right now, it does not seem like something that will work. Why? Because everyone now is going to be tracked based on your NIN, BVN, and now we are talking about tax ID. So I'm going to be speaking to a bit of, today's webinar is not going to be the only webinar we are going to have. So let me quickly announce that. We are going to have a subsequent webinar, and then, because our goal is to provide as much information as possible to people, especially people who are in business. Why? Because this tax issue as a singular issue carries a lot of capacity to affect your business. And that's our major concern. So there's going to be an ongoing conversation around the tax issue. We are going to be having different bite-sized information that we are going to be posting for you on our WhatsApp page for you to, in the next couple of days, by the time we have spent a whole week, or by the end of this week, you will have had a very good grasp of the old tax thing, and then how to navigate it. So there are many things to talk about when we are talking about this tax issue. So we are just going to take them, one after the other. Now, like I said earlier, there have been taxation in Nigeria. It is not a new thing. But right now, why we are talking about it, why everybody is talking about it, is because now the government is saying, come, everyone that is earning an income in Nigeria, we are now going to make it a compulsory thing. So everybody now must pay tax. Now, before I go further, let me say something. I have also heard from people who said, oh, why would government want to take money from us when we are not even sure what they are doing with this money? When we are not even sure whether they are going to use this money to benefit us, to benefit the country. Now, different issues are separate, and we are not supposed to mix them together. You and I know that our government, except something changes from now, we are not, the government is not really necessarily transparent about how the taxpayers' fund is being utilized. And sometimes this money is even being used on causes that does not really satisfy the citizen. We have all of that. And if you feel what I feel, there is a tendency to want to say, oh, please, I'm not sure I want to get involved in this. Why should they take money from us when the government is not even giving anything back to me? Yes, you have a right to feel that way. But bear in mind that, when something is a law is a law, and ignorance is not an excuse in law. Now, when any law is violated, there will be consequences. So one of the things we are going to be talking about in this webinar is how not to fall into the trap, we call it the tax net, how not to fall into the tax net such that you now become a victim of the law. All right. So there are many taxes that exist in Nigeria prior to this time. But right now, the government has tried to compress all of these many taxes into a few combined and understandable tax. And they want to make it easy for everyone to be able to pay tax, to understand. So, and I'm going to mention some of these tax, options that applies to different people depending on what you do. Right now, if you are a content creator, for instance, you know that in the past, government has not been bothering about what people do online. If you are a content creator, you make money on Instagram. These are people who have been making a lot of money without paying tax. But right now, government is saying, come, nobody is going to be able to escape now. And that's why you find the story, I know you must have seen on the social media, the story of this popular guy who was slammed by a lot of money in tax by the Lagos state government. And the truth of the matter is, if he doesn't get a good tax accountant to help him, reduce his liability, probably do a bit of accounting for him, the truth is that what amount they said is his tax, is going to pay that amount. And you know why? It's easy for government to know now, because banks are currently under instruction to report transactions. There are limits of transactions for individuals. There are limits of transactions for businesses, corporate bodies, that once you are running business, or you make a deposit, or you do transaction within that value or up to that value, you cannot hide from the government. So if you are here right now and you do business and you make a significant amount of money, so what I'm trying to say in essence is, let's not struggle about this whole tax issue. Let's talk about how can we use it to our advantage? How can we use it to benefit ourselves? So that's what this webinar is all about. Right now, I will be mentioning some of the tax as it applies to different. So we have taxes at the federal level. The first one I'll be talking about is the company income tax. Now, before, the government allows you to come and tell them, okay, this is how much I made and this is my tax. But right now, there will be stricter measures, because the old tax system has been digitized, and all of the filings, in the past, you go to FIRS to file your tax, and right now, you are not going to be doing that anymore. You are going to be doing the filing online. Right now, you are going to be declaring, it's like declaring your asset. You are going to be doing all of that online. And then the government is really, really investing a lot of money in technologies that help them to track every single business. All right. So if you are running business, you are registered with CAC, you can be sure that the government knows what is going on in your business to a large extent. So having said all of that, company income tax is a major tax that you want to understand if you are a business person. So if you run a business, you need to understand what are the laws that surround the company income tax. Now, the CIT, which we call the company income tax, is a tax that you pay on the revenue that you generate, on the profit that you make in your business. Right now, the government has said that if you generate less than 50 million naira annually, you are exempted from paying tax. That sounds like a good news, but it is not a good news totally in itself. It's not a total good news. Why? Because you are not the one that will tell the government that I don't make up to this amount annually. It is your records that we show. Now, we did a quick survey on the WhatsApp group on the records. So you see that there are people who keep paper records. There are people who are using Excel. A very few percentage of people are using accounting software. A larger percentage of people are having business records that the government cannot accept, to prove anything. The record you are writing in notebooks, that you are writing in paper, here and there, cannot do anything for you when you need to prove your tax status. All right. So let me say here, even though these are part of the things we are supposed to be saying subsequently, but let me say it at this point, that one of the things that you need to start doing right now before we enter January, if you don't have proper records for your business, is to start keeping records. Very, very important. That is like the ABC of what all these issues around tax that we are going to be talking about. This is like the basics. This is like the ABC. If you miss it in records, in business records, you can be sure that this whole tax issue is not going to favor you. It's not going to favor your business. So now I said something earlier that the government said, okay, come, if you make less than this amount annually, you are exempted. And I said that is not a total good news. Why? Because if you don't have any record to prove that you actually don't make more than that, the government is going to see you as not wanting to pay tax. And then two things are either going to happen. You are either going to be getting penalties for non-compliance, or if you want to go by your amateur record, I call it amateur record, that you have, you are going to be paying more tax to the government than you should. Okay, so if you are here on this call and this is a quick, another quick poll. Let's just have a quick one. If you are here, you make more than 50,000 annually. Can I see your hand? Can you raise your hand? Let's make it interactive. You are on this call, you make more than 50 million annually. Okay, let me put it this way, right? If you are here on this call, you make less than 50 million naira annually. Please, can you signify? Less than 50 million naira annually. Can you signify? Let's look at a few things. Okay, so now okay, I can see DC Concord. Let me take Gbadero. I hope I'm getting the pronunciation correctly. Let me take Mr. Gbadero, whether Mr. or Mrs. Gbadero. I want you to speak up at this point. You can unmute. Please, can you tell us how you knew that you make less than 50 million naira annually? Can you tell us how you knew? You can unmute, please. Okay, so because of our time, Balkis are okay. Yeah, you are speaking. You can go on. Sorry? Sorry, probably because of your network. I can't hear you. I can't hear you very clearly. I'm sorry. So, Balkis Aremu, please, can you unmute and tell us, how did you know that you make less than 50 million naira annually?
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Actually, the reason why I know that I'm not making up to 50 million annually is due to my capital base. I'm like a mini business. Then apart from that, the number of staff that I have and the patronage and what I sell daily, monthly, like that. That's why I can deduce that I'm not making up to 50 million. And I have to total everything from January to December. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So in other words, what you are trying to tell us is that you have some form of records that shows that this is how much you make on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and then on an annual basis. So the reason why I asked that question is because I don't want any one of us on this call that you have a business you are running to be self-deceived. Okay, I have asked people that how much do you make? Some people cannot tell. You know, we can put down our hands. Thank you. So some people cannot even tell. So if you cannot tell, or if you don't have proper records, so what we are trying to say is that you will end up getting in trouble with the government. Quite all right. Or if you say, okay, with the record that you have, you want to pay tax, you will end up paying more than you should, because there is a way tax is being calculated. So when you are calculating your tax, there are certain things that you may not know. So let's talk about something else. I want to keep to time. So at some point, I'm going to, so please, we have opened the WhatsApp group so that if you have questions, you can start posting your question right now. So we are going to spend about the last 20 minutes of this call answering some of the questions. So now, before I leave the CIT alone, when we say you are going to be paying tax, the tax will be paid on your profit. I want you to note that. But what determines whether you are going to pay is your revenue. So let's get the difference between the two. So the government has said if you make 50 million and above annually, you will pay tax. So that is like the determinant. What determines whether you pay tax or not is your revenue. But when it is time to pay your tax, you will pay the tax on your profit. I hope we get the difference. That's number one. Number two, if you don't make up to 50 million naira annually, you will not pay tax. You are exempted from company income tax, but you might be liable to other form of taxes. For example, if you are selling vatable products, and most products that people sell, most services that people provide are vatable. So I won't be talking about that today, but I just want you to know it. You are like a collection agent for the government, because the tax right now, the VAT right now is 7.5%. What that means is that when you buy your product that you want to sell, yes, Katoikia, if I got the pronunciation right, this 50 million naira is your revenue, not your profit. So what the government is saying is that if you make revenue up to 50 million naira and above in a year, you are liable to pay company income tax. But if you make up to that or more than that, and you want to pay your tax, you are not going to be paying your tax on the 50 million naira or whatever the amount is. You are going to be paying your tax on your profits. I don't know if I've been able to clarify that. Okay, but what determines whether you are going to be paying at all is your revenue. But once you qualify to pay tax, you will be paying the tax on your profits. So that's how it is. So now, before I go to something else, I want to say this, that whether you are exempt or you are liable, you will still file. You still file to the tax authorities every month or quarterly or annually, depending on the kind of business that you do, or depending on what frequency is comfortable with, you are comfortable with. But my advice is that, okay, thank you. My advice is that you file every month, because if you file every month, I will answer that question in a moment. So if you file every month, you can easily know if there are issues that this taxpayer, especially if you've not been paying tax before, you can easily know if there are issues that the tax authority are going to have with your submissions, so that you can, and then at that level, your liability will be minimal, and then you can quickly make adjustment and be sure that subsequently you are compliant. But if you wait for a whole year, because the government allows you to determine how you want to file, okay? So there are companies that file annually, there are companies that file quarterly, and then some people do monthly. So if you decide that you want to do annually and there are irregularities in your let's say your record, or the government feel they have issues with your company records, then your liability is going to be big. All right, it will have compounded over a period of 12 months, and then sorting it out might be a bit challenging. So filing, I will quickly explain what filing is. Somebody just asked that question. Filing are some documents that you submit to the government that shows the government how much money you made and how much profit you made. And then if you are going to be paying tax, it is that document that shows what is your tax liability that you are paying. All right. So we call them compliance documents. So there are some documents you take to FIRS, that you take to the state tax office and say, okay, it's like declaring your assets as a business. Now, if you get started on time, which is one of the reasons why this webinar is important, if you get started on time, I believe there are so many things that are not yet clear around this whole new tax law, but I believe that I've spoken a lot with experts on this subject, and even people that are working with the tax authorities, right? And one thing that you can be sure about is that the government does not have any plan to witch hunt anybody at this time. Do you understand? The government does not plan to clamp down on businesses, to clamp down on people, especially if you start your compliance journey on time. All right, so what I mean by that is this. There is something we call tax net. Let me ask a question. If you are on this call and you have a business that has been running for, let's say, minimum of a year or more into the past, and you've not been paying tax, please, can you signify? I want to quickly see how many people. Okay, one person. So please, let's respond fast because of our time. I know many people. Okay, no, thank you. So if you have any questions, please, you can post them. You can post them on the chat, on the WhatsApp chat. We try to answer as many as we can. So now I know there are many people who are on this call who have not been paying tax, but for whatever reason you may have chosen not to raise your hand. That's good. But now the point I want to make is this. We can put down our hands. The point I want to make is this. If you have not been paying tax, you can take advantage of these 3 months that we have before January to start doing something in that direction. So that is what we call entering into the tax net willingly. Okay, yeah, Natasha, yes, I can see that. I paid, but not knowing exactly what I paid for as a micro business. You need to stop that, because the danger is that if you are paying tax blindly, if the government look at your record and say, okay, what you are paying is too small for your business based on your records, then you are in violation and there will be consequences. The other flip side of that is that you might actually be paying more than you should pay without knowing. So you actually need to get your records straight. So I will still come to that. Now, the other thing, okay, I've not been paying because I know with my records, I have not made enough to pay tax. Yes, well, you may be correct, but at the end of the day, it is your record, like I said earlier, that is going to determine that. But whether you are exempted from paying tax or not, you are supposed to file. All right, you are supposed to file. Also, before I go to another point, there are businesses that are exempted, irrespective of whatever your revenue is. For example, if you are in healthcare business, you have a pharmacy, you are not expected to pay tax. You run an hospital, you are not expected to pay tax. Or you run a school, education, government does not tax education business, right? If you run a bookshop, so maybe some of us may be shocked to hear that. If you run a bookshop, you are exempt. Okay, you are exempt from paying tax if you run a bookshop. Why? Because bookshop is under education. Do you understand? So you are exempt from paying tax. But however, you are expected to file. That is, you are expected to submit your compliance document to the government at whatever frequency you decide. Okay, so I believe that what we have said so far has been clear. So now let's talk about a few other things that I think is important. Now, there is something we call development levy. This development levy is a whole number of taxes, or let me say a whole number of old tax points that are now converged. They have now been converged into one single tax, which is called development levy. You must have heard about TET, the Tertiary Education Tax Fund. You must have heard about IT levy for NITDA and a number of other developmental levies. There are so many of them. So all of them have now been consolidated into one single tax, which is called development. Okay, so please, I can't. Okay, thank you. So they have now been consolidated into a single tax that is called development levy. And development levy is a 4% on your assessable profit, right? So development levy is something that you will pay, whether you are exempted from CIT or not. I hope that is clear. So let's take note of that. Then another thing I need to mention is that if you are a professional, who are professionals? You are a consultant, you are a surveyor, you have your private practice, you are a lawyer, right? I'm trying to think of other examples that come under this. Well, lecturing. Well, if you are a lecturer, definitely you earn salary. So it's PIT that we are talking about private practice. Like you talk about a lawyer that have a private practice. You are talking about consultants. You are talking about you have yeah, veterinarian is under healthcare. So if you own a veterinary outfit, you are exempted from CIT. So if you are a professional, please, can you put in the chat if you can give me more examples of professionals that we are talking about. For example, I am a business consultant. Yes, if you are an architect, you have a private practice. Any other one? You are a lawyer. I've mentioned that. You are a business consultant. Or you are a content creator, digital agency, a security guard. If you are the owner of the security company, then you are liable to CIT. But your staff will only pay what is called personal income tax. So these are some of it. So there are a lot of complexity around this. But we don't want it to be confusing. So that's why I'm taking one by one. So if you are a professional, let me just put it that way. You are a lawyer. You have a private practice that you run. Then the government says that even if you don't make up to 50 million annually, you are still going to pay company income tax. So as a business consultant, for instance, even if all I made in a year is 20 million naira, I'm still going to pay company income tax. All right. Food industry is liable to tax, especially if you sell food stuff, you are selling, you have a canteen and all of that. So now let's talk about this is 5:42 p.m. Like I said, today is not going to be the only, we can't finish everything today. Now, let me talk about VAT. I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned it earlier. Let me talk about value-added tax. So let's start by talking about what are taxable items, right? Taxable items are, they will fall under anything that you sell. The only thing I can broadly tell you right now that is not subject to VAT are what we call basic food staples, like basic food. They don't come under, for example, if you sell gari, you sell all those kind of things, rice, basic foods. But packaged food, they are liable to VAT. So if you go to a supermarket, for instance, or let me say if you own a supermarket, there are goods that you are selling that will be subject to VAT. So it is your responsibility to factor 7.5% of the value into your cost. So that, because government is going to take that money from you, right? And it is very good for you, talking about record keeping right now, it is very, very good for you to have on record what are your products that you collect VAT on. For example, if you sell rice, let's say all this not imported rice, or all this local rice that, let's say your father rice, for instance, you sell them at your supermarket, you are not expected to pay tax on that. I have seen in some supermarkets locally made elubo that they package, that people can buy, apart from going to the open market and things like that. Such food are not subject to VAT, palm oil and things like that. So, but processed, branded processed food, like you want to talk about cornflakes, you want to talk about golden morn and stuffs like that, you are going to pay VAT on that. So now, one thing I'm going to be telling you right now is that as a business owner, you need to study all these things personally. And that's why I said it is not something that there will be other things that we'll be dealing with after today. So that's why I said it's not something we can do in a day, right? I know almost every one of us here are busy people. I am busy people. As a matter of fact, I have another meeting by 6 p.m., even though I may be late for that meeting. So, but that's why we don't want this meeting to be more than an hour, so to speak. So now, you need to go and study, especially if you have a wide range of products that you sell. Subsequently, we are going to be bringing someone on the inside of the FIRS, and then someone on the inside of state tax authority on this call subsequently, who are going to come and probably answer some of these things for us. But what I know is that this information, you can get many of these things we are talking about here, you can get them online. So on VAT, it will do you some good if you sell stuff to go online and fact check different products that you sell and see which of your products is liable to VAT or not, or which ones are not. So these are part of the preparations that you need to do. So at this point, we have taken a lot of time already. So, but let me ask a question before we proceed. If you have gained something so far, even though it's been a short time, if you gained anything so far, please can you raise your hand? Let's be sure that if you have gained anything so far, can you raise your hand? While I try to check the questions that we have. Okay, thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the encouragement. Okay, so I won't be able to answer all these many questions, but what we are going to do is that the questions we cannot answer here and now, we are going to post the answers for us on the chat. You are going to post the answer for us on the chat, even after the event, right? So I have here, how would the government be convinced or verify the profit of our company based on revenue detected? I mean, how are the expenses documented for? Okay, thank you very much. This is a very important question. And on the note of that question, I'm going to be introducing to us Ledgerly and what Ledgerly does. The truth of the matter is this. For you to be able to have accurate tax calculations, for you to be able to have accurate tax calculation, you need an accountant. All right. If you don't have an accountant, you will be paying more. Now, let me ask you, or let me not ask a question because of time. Let me just say it as straight as it is, that when many people are thinking about your income and expenses, probably, especially for those of us that we keep, let's say, manual records, what I have seen in the process of working with businesses, what I have seen so far is that I know many people document their sales. So they have a record of sales. And if you have a software that you are using to sell at your business place, this software takes care of your sales record, because your sales record is part of what you need for your tax calculation. And then there is another kind of record that we call expense record. This expense record, there are different categories of expenses. There are many things that business owners don't count as expenses, that when accountants get on your record, you are going to find out that maybe in a month you calculated that my expenses are the total expenses I made within a month is 25,000. Let's say your revenue for the month was 100,000, and then you calculated that your expenses for the month is 25,000. When accountants get involved in your record, or data analysts get involved in your record, you will find out that that expense value can increase as much as 50,000, can increase as much as 65,000. And that drastically reduces how much you pay in tax. That's why you need experts to work on your business records for you. So, but let me say here and now that no matter how, you need to keep some kind of record. It's a good thing if all you can do is write it down in a note. I know some people that they are running very big business, and then they have different kind of notebooks, higher education hardcover notebooks, and they document a lot of things in there. So that's a very good practice. All right. So now, for you to be able to calculate your tax, you need the help of these people, right? So most people cannot do tax calculation on their because it's accounting. Now, another thing you can do is to probably study up online on how to calculate your tax, and then see if you can do it yourself. Another thing that you can do is to use accounting software. So these are options that you have. But if you are on this call and you can hire an accountant, I have worked with accountants. I have helped different businesses to hire accountants, and I know that I am based in Osogbo, Osun State, and I know that even in Osun State here, for you to hire an accountant, you must get ready to pay as high as low, or let me say as low or as high as 100,000 naira per month. Which that figure is actually conservative. If you go to places like Lagos, like Abuja, like all the big cities, accountants earn far more than that. But the question is, how many businesses how many small businesses can afford to pay an accountant 100,000 every month? So, and then another side of the story is, if you want to use software, the software, most of the accounting software are not easy to learn. At the end of the day, you will still need to hire someone who is going to help you, who understand how to use the software, who is going to help you to take your business data, enter into the software, and then be able to generate your accounting reports. So these are options. So, but what we do at Ledgerly is we we are building a tech system. As a matter of fact, Ledgerly is positioning to be the operating system, the financial operating system for businesses in Africa, right? So what we do basically is that we have a system. We have built a system that you can just give us, you can choose how you want to do it. You can give us daily information about what happens within your business. You can choose to give it to us weekly, preferably daily, because it helps us to, if it is daily, we can easily track, irregularities in your business record, and then we can adjust. We can do what needs to be done on time. So what we do is we call it BPO, business process outsourcing. It's like you outsource your finance department to us. So at the end of the month, you are going to get the exact same thing that an accountant is going to give you. And mind you, it is not all kind of accountants that are experienced in compliance. That's a very special aspect of accounting. All right. So at the end of the month, you get from Ledgerly exactly what an accountant is going to do for you without you having to hire one. Okay. And our basic package goes for as low as 10,000 naira, 10,200 naira per month. That is inclusive of VAT. Do you understand? So for people who are running businesses that you have inventory, like a supermarket, a pharmacy, and all, we have another package that takes care of inventory accounting for as low as 24,000 naira per month. So let me, because I'm supposed to be answering the question. So I just went to talk about that, because these are the things, these are the options that you have if you want to calculate your tax correctly. All right. So we have professionals that are working at the background who are going to take your business record and then come up with your compliance document for you. As a matter of fact, we can even handle filing for you. All right. Every month we handle CAC filing. When we talk about filing, there are documents that you are supposed to submit to CAC every month. If you choose to do it monthly, there are documents that you need to submit to FIRS, currently now FRS every month. So this document, we call them compliance document. So based on the records that you give us, we generate this document for you. So we take all of the stress off you, and then all you need to pay is 9,500 exclusive of VAT and 10,200 inclusive VAT every month. That is way cheaper than you having to hire an accountant, or you having to struggle with learning how to use an accounting software, or having to hire somebody to use the accounting software for you. Okay, so except you have, even I know people who have businesses and they are accountants themselves, they have accounting background, but the time that it takes to sit down with some of these things, they don't have it. Okay, so that is where Ledgerly comes in. So I'll try to answer a few more questions. Who determines the profit on the revenue? Is it the government or the estimate? Now, you are the one that determines. That's why you keep your records. And then your accounting process. So this is the way I'm going to answer that question. It is your accounting process that will determine what your profit is. So what that means is this. If you decide to decide, if I ask you to decide by yourself what your profit is, if you don't have accounting experience or business analysis experience, you are likely going to declare profits in an amateur way, and your profits will be high. The profit you are going to be declaring will be high. And what that means also is that you are going to be paying a higher tax. All right. It's a different matter when a business analyst or an accountant takes your business record, and by the time on the same record that you calculated your profit on, by the time they come up and say, okay, this is what we have calculated, at the end of the day, they are going to tell you that you actually made lesser profits. All right. And that significantly reduces your tax burden. So that is how I'm going to answer that. So it is your accounting process so what I mean by accounting process is who does the calculation for you will determine what profits you are going to be declaring at the end of the day. So drugs and healthcare products are they vatable? I believe no, because generally speaking, the government has said that there's not going to be tax on healthcare products, because one of the arguments is that it makes healthcare products more expensive, and they want that healthcare products should be cheap and easy to access by people. So, but what I have said so far, don't take it as a final whatever. You can study up online on this by yourself. What are the list of accepted expenses that can be removed before tax? Now, this is not something we can be talking about here, but I believe that this is also subject to your accounting process. Even when we are talking about an accountant doing this for you, how experienced the accountant that is handling your record is can determine what they do with this record. And then different accountants can come up with different figures at the end of the day. So there is no hard and fast rule to answer that question. I just joined the seminar a few minutes ago. I missed it there for kind of help. So no problem. We are going to make the recording available. I have not been paying because I just got my CAC in April. Yeah, your CAC in April means you are not too much backwards. All right. So you can start, just like I said earlier, the key is for you to start from somewhere. Don't wait until the government, because a time is going to come that the government is going to start coming after businesses who are not compliant. If you wait until that time, it is going to be, that's why we talk about how not to get in trouble with the government from January 2026. One key step that you must take now, right now, is that you must start working. If you have been running your businesses before, you must start working into the tax net by yourself. All right. So even if the government is going to say, okay, what happens to all of the past, you can be sure that they are going to be gentle on you. But if they are the one that come for you, and then, you are now trying to explain and rationalize and all that, your tax, but your penalty, definitely they are going to penalize you. Okay. So if you did not hear anything today, hear this, that one key step that you must start taking from now by yourself is that you must start taking steps to working into the tax net by yourself. And what that means is that start probably from next month or something, start visiting the tax office with your compliance record, right? So I believe it's going to go a long way to give you soft landing. Please, companies with TIN, if you have TIN, it has already taken care of your tax issues. So if you already have TIN, you already have tax identity, so you don't need to worry about the tax ID that they have been talking about. What happens to those that have just registered their business's name? That's a good one. That means you are starting on a clean slate. I have not started business yet. So now, if you have not started operations, you still need to file. All right. You need to file, even with all of your zero revenues and all of that. You still need to file. Okay. So that's how you show it is those documents that you file that will show the government that, oh, this company is not yet making money yet. And it is by document that you communicate such thing to the government, not by mouth, not by verbal explanation. What the government wants to see is your document. Okay. My organization makes tax deduction before paying salary. Will government still remove tax on such salary? Okay, so now with the CIT is one thing. So if you remove tax from your staff salary, they don't need to pay tax on their income anymore, right? As a matter of fact, most employees that you have in your business don't have, except for the new law now that has mandated that everybody have tax ID. So if you remove the if you remove the income tax from your staff's salary, then it has to be paid with their tax ID. So that's what you need to do. You pay with their tax ID. Accountant, medical doctor, yes, quantity surveyor, engineer in private practice. Artisans. So artisans, your artisans, what I understand by artisans is, let's say you are a painter, right? So you are a service provider, so you are still going to pay tax. You fall under the category of people that the government say that even if you don't make up to 50 million annually, you still pay tax. So you are a service provider. All right. So I think this is the last question I would take, and then every other question we are going to. So for those of you asking for our contact, right? This particular number that you are sending tax to, I'm going to put it on the chat right now. That is actually the Ledgerly is a remote first company, so we don't work physically, even though we have an office. So all your interaction with us from anywhere, whether you are in Abuja, you are in Lagos, all your interaction with us is going to be virtual. We don't have physical contact with clients. All right. So all you need to do is message us on WhatsApp. And as a matter of fact, the simplicity behind what Ledgerly is building is that anybody that can use WhatsApp can use Ledgerly, because our infrastructure is being built to integrate with WhatsApp. So everything you submit to us on WhatsApp, is being picked up by our tech system, and then there will be some kind of analysis that will be performed, and then different data, data analysis goes on in the background. And then at the end of the month, you have your compliance document. And then there are other services that we provide as well, so which you will still get to know. So, but I don't want to distract us with that right now. Okay, so if I only registered, I think I can see only 2 more questions. So let me quickly answer them. What if I only registered business name? More like, so that's a very good question. Right now, if all you have is a business name, let me tell you what's going to happen. The government is going to treat, the government is going to treat your income as your personal income tax. So what that means is this: every money that comes into your account, the government treats them as your personal income, not as company income. What is the difference? If you are registered as a limited liability company, every money that comes into your account, the government allows you to remove your expenses and all the running expenses and all of that, and then you declare your profit. So you pay tax only on your profit. But if what you have is a business name, the government recognizes that every income that you make as a enterprise, if what you did was enterprise registration, is your personal income. So you are going to pay tax based on the revenue that reflects on your account. So I hope that answers that. So it might actually be a good idea for you to upgrade your registration to limited. So if you want to register CAC, if you want to upgrade your registration, these are all part of what we do, and we make it very simple for you. Who determines the profit? I've answered this question earlier. How do businesses that work in a month get paid in 3 months later and get in 3 months? So there is a way to do that accounting, yes. So if you do business and then people, maybe you're a contractor, you work and then people pay you in 3 months' time. There is a way there is an accounting system that takes care of that. So there is a way you can do your accounting, and then you're not going to have any problem. The accountant, the business analyst, they know how to deal with that. So finally, I have announced earlier, let me try to do something. So we want to give a discount. So let me say that if you are here, you are a professional, for instance, let's say you are you are a service provider, you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer. And so please, I want us to post our questions on the WhatsApp chat. So any other question that comes in now, we will answer them on the WhatsApp group. Okay. And then on the WhatsApp group, we are going to be announcing another time that we are going to dive deeper into this issue. And then the next time we are likely going to have somebody else who is going to come and give us some other aspect of exposure to this subject. So now, if you are interested in Ledgerly helping you with your compliance and you are on this chat, we are going to make a form available immediately right after this webinar. So for everyone that filled that form before 12 midnight today, we are going to be giving you 20% discount on any of our plans that is. So I'm going to post those plans on the WhatsApp chat. So depending on your kind of business, it will tell you what your business, what plan will fit your business, right? So whichever plan you are picking, everyone that filled that form before 12 midnight today, we are going to be giving you a 20% discount. That's a lot of discount. 20% discount on your first 3 months. On your first 3 months. So not just a month, your first 3 months with us, we are going to be giving you 20% discount on your subscription. So that is for everyone that is still online as at now. So this is 6:09. And just a minute. I want to take a moment to say a big thank you to everyone that has joined us today. I hope you've been able to get value for the time that you spend with us. So please, let's stay on the WhatsApp chat. All right. I can see that a lot of people actually joined the WhatsApp chat after the seminar has started. So we are going to be making the recording available, number one, and then we are going to be having subsequent sessions where we are going to be talking about other issues. These things are important for your business, and we are doing it for free. So please make out the time to be part of our subsequent webinar so that you can learn things that will benefit your business. Okay, so thank you very much. We appreciate you once again. So before we go, please leave us your comments, your feedback on the WhatsApp page. Let us know, was it something that was worth your time? Do you want us to keep doing it? If it benefited no one, then there is no point continuing to do this. But if it benefited someone, please let us know in the chat so that we can continue to do more webinars that will help you to navigate the compliance terrain in Nigeria. Thank you very much. We are grateful once again. So we continue on the WhatsApp platform. Thank you very much. And thanks for joining us for today.
Okay.